Huh, it's usually posted on my Facebook page. I don't know what's going on. I'll just post a YouTube link. Hope everybody's doing great. We're about to get started here in a second. Give me about 2 minutes. Just doing an audio check and posting on my other platforms. So I'm streaming on like 3 platforms right now. So just got to make sure I'm good on all of them. I'm going to do a lot of screen share with this. You guys, usually I prepare like stuff on my Miro board. It's like it's like a notepad like I have. But I found that you guys like it a lot more. And correct me if I'm wrong when I do like screen share. So I show like the behind the scenes in certain software and certain systems. So I'm going to do that today. So we already have 6 people. Guys, post your questions. I use this time for Q&A as well. This is live, so I'm not like pre-recording this. I go with whatever you guys need assistance with. If this goes off the rails and in left field, guys, I don't care. I feed off of human interaction and y'all's questions. Okay. So okay. All right. We're about to get started. I'm going to show you guys where I'm actually recruiting these people from too. I had a call today with a guy, and he was asking me where I'm like basically recruiting a lot of my VAs from, and I'm going to show you guys just where I'm getting my VAs from. Some of you guys may know the website. All right, guys. All right, cool. Let's get started, guys. Without further ado. So, guys, a couple things I want to discuss today. My agenda is basically going to be right how to source VAs for your text message marketing. I'm going to show you guys where I'm sourcing those, how you hire them, how you manage your texting managers, some different platforms that I use for hiring. I'm going to show you guys that, but also too how I track their KPIs. Guys, really, to be honest, my text messaging managers, they're my least problematic people that I hire. It's like such a simple job. I rarely do training with them. Like once I have onboarding training with my text messaging managers, it's a wrap, guys. You know, I meet with them like maybe once a month. Some of them I cross train on list pulling and my method with analyzing markets, but for the most part, they send out 500 to 600 messages a day. They get anywhere from 5 to 12 leads a day. They've done their job. So before we do that too, I do want to talk about the best practices with text message marketing, okay, in the post A2P registration world. So I know I did behind the scenes on an REI reply account. Not going to do that today, but I'm going to share with you guys just why over 90% of investors like can't get this right, and just some ways that you guys can bolster your marketing campaigns. Again, guys, texting, it's basically the best marketing channel right now that we're doing. If you're not going to do anything for the fall or winter, I would do texting. And a lot of people may say, well, I can't figure it out. Well, it doesn't work. It does. It's just different. If you guys were around and anytime before 2023 with texting, you guys know that you were able to just upload a whole bunch of messages to your REI reply account and blast them. It's not like that anymore, right? It's not. It's you have to do some different things to make sure it works properly. I'm going to go over these best practices. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you guys. We're going to get into it. So first things first, let me do this. Let me talk about some of the best practices. First of all, the tool we're using, REI Reply, hands down, is the best texting tool. Some people use Smarter Contact. Some people use, there was another website a guy mentioned to me earlier today when I spoke with him, where you basically get a phone and you're able to text from the phone. Guys, here's the thing. If I'm the bottleneck and I can't have a VA do it, I'm not going to do it at all, right? And so some of these processes and some of these tools are so intricate, you are basically the bottleneck. It's almost like the same thing as saying, well, I could get probates if I go to the county and I, source all these leads from the county. Guys, okay, you could do that, but you're going to be the bottleneck there. Or I could do bandit signs, or I could door knock, all good, but again, you're going to be the bottleneck. We do not want you to be the bottleneck. So I found a way to automate REI Reply by basically having VAs do this. And again, if VAs are doing it, guys, it has to be simple. McDonald's can make making a burger super complicated, but guess what? They don't. They can have a PhD or somebody who has a master's degree. That person needed to make a burger. They can make it that complicated, but they don't. For guess what? Economies of scale. And it's the same thing here. I don't want to be bothered by a $5 hour Filipino VA that's texting. I'm sorry, guys. I don't want them messaging me in the middle of the day while I'm talking to clients or while I'm figuring out higher level problems in the company. So with that being said, I need to make sure that they're able to do the job with little or no issue. And if we're changing our texting tool every freaking month or every time there's a new tool that comes out, you can't have stability in that process. Again, we don't want to experiment with our business. Some of you guys have been following me for a while. One of the clients that just signed on with me a couple of weeks ago, he said, man, you've been preaching the same thing every single year for like the last, I think he's been following me for 4 years. I have. I may come across boring. It may seem like one of those things where I don't change my message. I don't change it at all because the stuff I do just works. I build on top of basically my pre-existing information that I present. Okay. So the tools we're using, REI Reply, guys, hands down. All right. Why? For every 500 messages we send out, we generate 5 leads at a minimum. Guys, like clockwork. Any market, anytime. Nobody's doing this, guys. Nobody's figured it out. Here's the thing. Let me be real with you guys. Can I be real? I am. So here's the thing. I dare to say 90% of investors gave up on texting post 10 DLC, A2P registration. Me personally, I was around, right? Guys, I was around at the start. I'm not saying I was the first person to text message in bulk, but I would say this. I think I was one of the first people to offer skip tracing in bulk back in 2017 with a company called Blip Leads. And we were getting Equifax data. We got an account with Equifax, and we were basically reselling data, which we shouldn't have supposed to. Hopefully the statutes of limitations is out on that. But we were getting data from Equifax, and we really should have only been using that data for debt collections purposes. I'll tell you what we did. I'm a smart dude, right? I don't know a lot, but I know how to navigate over here a little bit with some things. So we ended up starting a debt collections company to get an Equifax account to get this program called First Search. And so the skip tracing was a little expensive back then. It was better than TLO, but in batch, we were able to get hits like per hit, like for 35 cents. So one skip trace costs 35 cents. You guys are spoiled right now with freaking 3 cents and 5 cents skip tracing, or even 12 cents, which is what I pay for the premium stuff. But we were able to get First Search, and then guys, we were making so much money from selling it because we were one of the first people that were companies and consultants that were able to sell that stuff in bulk. So guys, we were making like $5 grand, $7 grand some days, like just selling skip tracing. It was crazy. Those are the good old days. Those are the good old days. But yeah, after that, what we did, fast forward to late 2018, some of you guys may have found me through my most popular video on my YouTube channel, and that was a text messaging app that I created called REI Text Blast. Okay, I got shut down from Twilio abruptly, unfortunately. But back then, when I was doing that, or when I was using that application, I closed a deal in Tampa by sending off text messages. I remember it like yesterday. I sent off it was 500 text messages with Equifax data in my application I built, REI Text Blast. I actually paid a guy from India to build it out. Shout out to Raj. I paid him like $500 to build that thing out. But we sent off 500 text messages, got a motivated seller, and that was around October of 2018. And it took us, I JV'd with a guy, I forgot his name, Miguel. Shout out to you, Miguel, if you're watching this. JV'd with him. He found a buyer. He actually found the buyer through a realtor. So we contracted it for around $73K. We found a guy that would pay, I think it might have been like $83K, $84K. The realtor tacked on $3 grand. And then we closed in like early December. And that deal came in the clutch for me because that was like one of the first deals I did when I ventured off from my current business partner at the time. And that was with texting. And so I was still doing cold calling, but texting was like right there. My only issue with texting at the time was I needed so many text messages to get one contract. And all because everybody started to do it in like 2019, really 2020. And if you guys watched any of my texting videos from back then, you would know that I was adamant and very dogmatic because I kept track of this KPI we had a 0.2 to 0.4% lead rate. So what does that mean? If we send off 1,000 messages, that would yield 1,000 messages would yield, let me do the math here, 0.002. I think it's like 2 to 4 leads. Wow, guys. And that's if we were lucky. This was 2019 to 2021. Guys, when 2022 hit, 1,000 messages would yield maybe 1 to 2 leads. One time on a fresh skip trace list in 2022, on a freshly skip trace list. And one day in Roar, if you guys remember this app, I sent out 5,000 text messages for 3 days straight and got like 2 leads, like 2 cold leads. At that point, I stopped texting. because it was saturated. Okay, so I never put text messaging at the #1 spot in my company. I never did that. I loved it when I initially did it, but I never put it in the #1 spot because it basically was like using, it was the equivalent of a Hummer using gas compared to like a Honda using gas. So a Hummer, I would have to fill up 10 times to get to the same destination as it would probably take me 1 or 2 times to fill up in gas if I drove a Honda to the same destination. It basically just burned through my data. And so when you look at, I'm not going to skip on the data that I use, right? When we talk about data, it's a list pulling tool that I use, my database, and it's my skip tracing database that I use. I've used the same databases, the list pulling one since 2017 and the skip tracing one since 2019. I'm not deviating from those, regardless if somebody says, you could use this skip tracing company and you could get 3-cent skip tracing. I cannot guarantee my KPIs if I start messing up my system. It will take me a lot, even if I can save a little bit of money. It will take me a lot to change both of those tools. I would have to see a lot, and the only way I could see a lot is by testing. I'm just not going to spend extra money to test a new skip tracing tool out or even a list pulling tool. I'm not doing that because with my process now. Let's talk about 2023. So October 2023, A2P 10DLC went into effect. And it's been frustrating, guys. Is it effect or effect? Grammar police, I need to know. But 10DLC went into effect. And guys, since then, it basically culled all the fat. It trimmed everybody that was doing texting out of the marketplace. At first, I was frustrated, but then I realized, you know what? This is a blessing because right now we have the ability as investors, serious investors, to really have a competitive edge in the marketplace now. Guys, at one point, the competitive edge was skip tracing. Not everybody was able to get access to phone numbers. If any of you guys were around in 2016, 17, you guys remember TLO. And so to get a TLO account, I may be dating myself here. I feel so old. To get a TLO account, what did you need? You needed a commercial office. And then really, they would come to your commercial office, but you couldn't just have like you couldn't like have an office where it was a cubicle or a co-working space. You actually had to have a freaking office. And so at the time we had 2 offices. I had one downtown Charleston and then one close to my house. Actual offices you could walk in. We had a receptionist and everything. So, then we were able to actually get a TLO account. They went to my Dorchester office and it took like a month and a half to get that account. But once we had that, guys, it was amazing. We were able to sell skip tracing doing that. And we paid VAs because they were manual skip traces like around the clock to skip trace our list. To do maybe 1,000 records, it took them a whole week. But once we had that, we not only were able to find addresses and phone numbers, but mainly addresses for our return mail. So we would get our return mail back. We would have our Filipinos skip trace them. And then find the correct address. We would repackage the mail and then send them off. And we got a lot of deals that way. And we also had, we also were able to skip trace phone numbers and we would cold call, right? So we would manually cold call. And that's how we got a lot of deals. That was before people had the ability to skip trace. Guys, back then you had, what was it? findaseller.com. Find a Seller still up. I just recommended somebody to find a seller. Oh my gosh, man. The good old days. The good old days, man. Let me know if any of you guys remember this site right here. So guys, back in the day, we used to do Find a Seller. Yeah, guys, it costs $10. They haven't changed these prices. $10 to do one skip trace. I found a seller, ironically, using this company. And we closed a deal on it. It was a lady that was going to foreclosure. Shout out to you, Miss Mullins. 881 Ashley Avenue, $15,000 assignment fee. Right. So but we had to go through like 100 phone numbers on that sheet to be able to find her son. And it actually was amazing how the deal came together. I was working as a contractor in Fayetteville in 2015, and her son lived like on base, like 10 minutes away from where I work. So one day on lunch, I was like shaking in my boots. I went visited him. And I said, "Hey man, we've been trying to get in touch with your mom and buy this house downtown for 3 months." And so he finally invited me inside. He had a daughter. I met his daughter, met his wife. He played keyboard, so he was in there playing and stuff. It was cool. And so he actually gave me the phone number to his mom. And he said, "Hey, mom, these guys want to buy the house." And we thought this lady was across the country. She lived like 2 minutes down the road. And she would go pick up the mail, and she saw everybody's mail. But she was like a hermit because her husband passed away. The home just went in disrepair. And she was actually taking care of another man. I don't say like another man, but she was taking care of somebody else. I don't know if they were dating or what, but he was like a retired B-list actor at the time. But yeah, that was a crazy story. That was amazing how that came together. But yeah, anyway, not to go on a tangent, but we used to use this back then. So why am I saying all this, guys? It's to appreciate the journey for one, and appreciate where we're at, and to realize, to give you all history, that we're in a golden time to be doing this. Listen, yes, it's difficult. I had a call with a guy today, shout out to you, Ryan, and most investors, they just can't put this together. Most investors are going to stop where? Trying to get their ATP registered. The court, whoever's in charge of this, the government organization, they intentionally made this ambiguous because they don't want people cold texting. So that it's not like you could contact them and say, "Well, my application got kicked back. What do I do next?" No, guys, we've submitted over 50 applications starting last year, basically just to figure out the process. And now every application we submit gets submitted. It gets approved within 24 to 48 hours of us submitting it. And they don't get kicked back anymore. So all these things I'm telling you are things that we figured out. I'm an analyst. I experiment at heart. And so if I'm presented with a problem, especially if there's a reward at the end, I'm going to figure it out. So I'll tell you guys the order of, I won't say priority, but the order of hot leads, hot marketing channels are, let's say this, the marketing channels that generate the hottest leads, in my opinion, this year are as follows. And this is a hot take, guys. I would say number one, we're going to be looking at PPC. So your personal PPC campaign. Actually, I would say SEO. SEO first, okay? But that's more like pull marketing. You know, when we really talk about push marketing, like the first marketing, you know, like actually pushing your message out, will be PPC. And then I would say text messaging. So I'm not even going to put SEO here because it's not like, it's like apples and oranges. I would say text messaging, then I would say pay per lead. And the reason why I put this at third is because these leads are shared. So think about your Z buyers, iSpeed, you know, Clever. You know, all these leads are shared, guys. You know, so some of these are hotter than others, but you know, again, guys, I would put text messaging higher because our conversion rate is much higher than these. And these leads, these text messaging leads are quicker if they're hot. They convert quicker. So meaning from lead to contract is very quick. So if somebody's interested, it's going to move very fast. They're already going to be in buying mode, okay? Or selling mode, rather. Then I would say direct mail. No. No. I would say cold calling. And then I would say direct mail. Again, I'm not including like bandit signs, guys, SEO, anything like that's like pull, you know, like meaning you put your message out there like a billboard and people come to you, like radio. We're talking about pull marketing. Okay, not push. So so direct mail, and then I would do RVM and voice broadcast. Actually, I would put voice broadcast above RVM. Yeah. So this is the order, right? Now, the ones that I do are text message marketing, cold calling, and then I do direct mail sometimes. I did RVM earlier this year. No, guys, for logistically and all the data that's needed to do RVM is just a headache. And now they have more like red tape around getting signed up for these programs. So for RVM guys, I don't think it's worth it. I don't think it's worth it at all to do that. You know, you can put one person in place to do RVM and they may generate one lead a week versus putting them in that same person at cold calling seat and they can generate 1 to 2 leads consistently for you a day. Okay. All right, guys, I'm about to show you guys some fun stuff here, but I just want to set the stage here and go over some notes. If you guys have any questions, please chime in. Jermaine's been all in one communicating, so I might have to get you a gift, Jermaine, for a free gift for communicating with me. Some of you guys just sitting back, man. You guys should get this free knowledge here and ask these questions. But I appreciate you guys just being on here live and watching the replay. Okay, so now let's talk about what the 2024, let's talk about the lead rates. Again, we said in 2019 and 2021, 1,000 messages would yield 2 to 4 leads, right? So we're at a 0.2 to 0.4% lead rate. Okay. Then in 2022, because more people were start texting, guys, new people. Think about all these people that got in during the pandemic. Guys, I was ticked off. You know, hey, I don't knock anybody trying to do real estate, but people that I knew were just fly-by-night investors, just trying to basically, you know, shoot some craps and get you know, a deal quickly. Those type of people, guys, they saturate the market for serious investors. So when I would call homeowners, they would say, "Oh, well, you know, you investors are calling me and nobody gives me an offer." That was happening a lot, guys, in 2022, 2023, like early 2021 to 2023, peak pandemic, guys. That was happening a lot, but I don't get that often now because guess what? A lot of the fly-by-night investors, they're gone. These new investors, they're gone. You know, it seemed like there was a huge spike in people investing. Now, when things tighten up or it's not as popular or it's more difficult, people don't want to be in it. If something's harder, I'm going to run towards that harder thing. That's just how I am. Call me a masochist. I don't care. But usually doing that harder thing and jumping through more hoops is going to yield the better reward. And that's just how it's always been. That's how my parents raised me. That's how I'll always be. So Christine G, she said, would you include your name and company number in the initial SMS? Great question, my friend. Long time no talk. So I would use whoever's going to be responding back to the text, I would use their name. Or you could use a generic name. You could say, hey, this is Alex with, you don't have to use a company name, but per 10DLC A2P requirements, in your signature block, which is what you'll set up in your settings section in REI Reply or your tool of choice to cold text, you're required to put your company name, right? So you cannot do it and then your messages not get sent out, but you are required to do that. So we used to not do that when we used Roar and pre-10DLC, but we do it now. So yeah, I would include your name and your company name. Mm-hmm. And guys, you never have to worry about, once you get registered, losing registration or losing access. The only thing that will happen is you might get like a 24-hour block on your account, but that's if you don't follow the best practices, which is what I'm about to go over. But to answer Christina's question, guys, just again, yes, use your name if you want. You know, you can use your VA's name, since they'll be responding back and potentially calling the homeowners who call back, because some people do just pick up the phone when we text. But yeah, it will automatically include your company. Well, you said your company number. So you're going to buy a virtual number, Christina. And so that doesn't have to be like your main company line. In your signature block, it'll be your company name, but you don't have to put like Christina buys houses 703-456-7896. You don't have to do that. Okay, company name. Yes, Christina said company name. So yeah, you do have to include that. But again, you don't have to like copy and paste that every time you set up an SMS campaign. That should be in your settings in REI Reply. So it's automatically added on. So you have to take into consideration, guys, if you want to stay underneath the 160 character limit, you have to take in consideration that signature block as well. And it'll usually say Christina buys houses, type or reply stop to unsubscribe. And that's required as well. Okay. Long as you're doing that, guys, you're underneath the radar. You're laying low. Okay. And it's required. We're not trying to, again, guys, I'm not trying to cheat the system at all. I'm just working with what the system gives me. Guys, some of you guys may ask, and our guy Jermaine here, shout out to you, my friend. I'm always here for it, always dropping gems. Excuse me, I'm here for it, always dropping gems. Salute to you, my guy. So some of you guys may say, well, this is, having the signature block, isn't that going to, reduce my response rates, or people think it's a bot? Guys, it's a matter of how many people are texting now. That's a big thing. Not that, guys, if you're texting your market, you're probably going to be the only one texting. Like, I'm telling you that. It's like wild. I have a few rental properties in my name, and you guys that have rental properties in your name, you probably have gotten, texted like a lot, back in 2021, 22, and even 2023. But tell me now how many texts you're getting. You probably are getting one a month. Maybe one a month. So with that being said, it's a numbers game for one, and it's all about saturation, right? This is a blue ocean. So you guys always know I'm going to give you guys a heat. So if everybody's going left, I'm going to go right. I'm always going to figure out the hack. And something about me, I love spilling the tea. I just love talking about this stuff. I don't know. I'm like that person that I'm like that busybody. I just love giving out information. I can't keep it to myself. I'm an educator by trade. I love this stuff. So let's talk about these lead rates. We're at a 1% lead rate right now. Guys, this is true in any market. I've done campaigns for myself. Cleveland is my main market I'm in. But I've done campaigns for clients in Kansas City and California and Boston. I've done campaigns in Memphis. I've done campaigns in Tampa, Florida, Miami this year, Detroit, Chattanooga, Tennessee, Midwest. So Columbus, Ohio, New Jersey. And guys, all of them have yielded the same response rate. New Jersey was a little bit dicey. We were texting there, weren't we? Yeah, we were texting. Yeah, but New Jersey, we generated some leads. But I would say that was probably the toughest market, right? But overall, we're getting a 1% lead rate, meaning 1,000 texts will generate 10 leads. Now, guys, now the leads are even hotter. I see your question there, Christina. I'm going to get back to you, and Jermaine. So now the leads are even hotter. And what do I mean by that? The hot leads that come in are ready to convert. That's why I have it so high here on just, my pull marketing channels. And what I love now is that I don't even need to send 1,000 messages a day. Guys, in my REI Reply account, I can send 5,000 messages a day from one phone number. And we're setting up a lot of people's accounts like this. Shout out to my guy, Eddie. He booked his REI Reply setup and consultation call, and got a list from us. So I was texting him earlier, and he's on his way to generate a lot of leads through texting. Guys, you guys are hearing this really are, man, you guys better jump on this stuff. Like, texting is like insane right now. Okay, so 1% lead rate. 1,000 texts would generate 10 leads. So we're doing 500 a day, and we have one VA sitting in the pocket all day responding to text. Okay. Let's get to our questions here. So to keep the messages under 160 characters, is it better to abbreviate company name or more professional to use actual name? So the name needs to match the name on the account. Okay. So one of our clients, he actually had cash offers in his name, and it didn't go through because cash was getting flagged. So what we did is we said, I thought on it. I went on a walk. I said, what we could do is just CASH offers. I'm not going to give you guys his company name, but he has a name before this, but cash was getting flagged. So we said, okay, offers. He was also thinking of doing like, I'm just going to do AQO, right? His acronym was different, but we didn't want the sellers, and that would have gone through, but we didn't want the sellers like being like, who's AQO? Always cash, always cash offers. Again, that's not his real name. But, we thought about that, and I said, you know what? We should just do always cash offers. Okay. His first, again, the first letter, this isn't the correct one. So that's not his company name. But we decided to type it out like that, and the messages went through. Now, you can abbreviate it if you want. But again, there's going to be a disconnect if you abbreviate it and it doesn't match up with your brand, right? So if it's just like, Jermaine Green buys houses, and you're just like JGBH, they're going to be like, what? And to be honest, I like the seller knowing that I'm like an investor, because again, we can't use certain like flag words like I want to buy your house for cash in the message. So if you're like Jermaine Property Buyers, then they know you're an investor contacting them. Okay. So you can abbreviate it, but it just has to look like it's the actual name of your company, right? You can abbreviate it. That's fine. That's fine. You could do that. But again, like if it's abbreviated, the sellers may be like, who's this? I don't think you're going to have any issue as long as you don't have like cash or, Jermaine, like Jay buys houses, like something like that in your signature. Or Jermaine's buys, H, if you want to keep it short, like if you have buy, then that'll get flagged. But if you want to do JBH, that's not going to get flagged. It just might look weird to the seller, right? But yeah, you could totally do that as long as it doesn't have a spam or trigger word in it. Let me know if that makes sense, Jermaine. And Christina said, 1% is high. What initial SMS works best for you? It's a great question. I'll actually go grab our initial SMS here in one of my accounts. So let me go in this account here. I should be in. I'm in like 10 REI reply account, so hopefully this is the correct one. I don't have the initial message right now. I would have to log into my REI reply account, get my phone. I don't have my phone on me to get the code, so I can discuss that next time. But we don't use any words like buys, homes, or purchase, right? But they do know we're interested in their property, right? So we change our messages sometimes, Christina. So we may say, hey, this is Cece hey, this is Cece. Have you thought about getting rid of 123 Main Street? If so, let me know, right? Something like that. Or, hey, this is Cece. Have you entertained, well, I say getting rid of. Have you, guys, I don't have it in front of me. Have you thought about unloading 123 Main Street? Right? So you see what we did there? Instead of saying purchasing, we're saying unloading. They know what we're getting at. And so when you have your signature that says Christine Investments, then they know investment properties, and they know you're an investor. And so that putting those two and two together, they know you're an investor, and you don't have to explicitly say in your message, hey, like, I'm looking to buy your property. So guys, this is what I mean by a lot of people, guys, a lot of people are like, oh, well, texting doesn't work. Guys, it still works. It still works. You just have to navigate it a little bit differently now. Okay. If that makes sense. Great question. Jermaine said, yes, it does. Okay. Awesome. And just a little interlude, guys. I'll be remiss if I don't do this, but if you have any questions, if you want to work with us, you could just take your phone and then swipe that QR code. We are setting up text messaging, REI reply accounts for people, and doing 1-hour consulting calls, record it, and then offering 30-day support. So if you need your REI reply account set up, if you're stuck on A2P registration, hit us up. We're also pulling lists for people too. So we have a nice little bundle for you guys, so you actually get your marketing off the ground. So for 30 days, you need 10,000 records. If you're going to do 500 a day, that should generate, guys. I'm not guaranteeing this because I'm not doing acquisition, but you should be able to get 2 contracts. Most of our clients get 3 to 4 with this. Okay, guys, let's get to it. So 2024 lead rates, 1% lead rate, right? So 1,000 texts will generate 10 leads. Guys, we've also sent 500 texts and generated 12 leads in one day. All right. And that's insane. That's insane. So I'm going to see if I have a KPI sheet here. I don't know if I have a KPI sheet. Okay, so yeah, these were so I'm going to tell you guys the difference between using Smarter Contact and why your texting tool matters. So why we use REI Reply, because guys, something's going on Smarter Contact. Again, I love the owner from there. Not knocking him or what he's done there, and there might be a place for it because I did use Smarter Contact at one time. But for what I can tell is that when you upload a list in Smarter Contact, they say over 70% of your phone numbers are invalid, even if you haven't uploaded any records yet. I think they're pushing their skip tracing software in it too. And I don't know, guys, call me a conspiracy theorist, but maybe they're trying to push people to skip trace their list by saying they're invalid numbers. And using the data set I'm using, I know most of my numbers are all my numbers except for 2%. Actually, all of them will upload. I have a 2% wrong number rate, but I have an over 99% accuracy rate, right? But 2% might be the wrong person, but it will still be a valid phone number, okay, when I upload them. So guys just have to keep that in mind. I'm looking at some data here. I'm going to grab another KPI sheet just so you guys can see a more updated one. And guys, you should be keeping track of your KPIs here, okay? So every day, our VA for one of my campaigns, Nikki, she sends us a EOD report. And so this just goes into managing your team members, guys. So Nikki will send us an EOD report. And so, guys, look, she sent out 484 texts, and the delivery rate was 88%. Response rate 19%, and then 7 leads. That's really good, guys. So we're really getting above on most days more than a 1% lead rate, which is insane, guys. So some of you guys may say, well, I'm not generating, I can't send out 5,000 messages a day or 20,000. Guys, you don't need to. There's no need. There's no need at all to send that many. Okay? There's none. So let's look at some of these KPIs here. So I'm gonna download this. And then I'm going to share this with you guys. So my guy, Marcus, I'm just going to delete his LLC just so I'm not giving away any proprietary information. All right, guys. Okay, sweet. So let's look at this. Okay, cool. So actually, I should have not did that. Let me just zoom in. Okay, so I pulled this list. So we started on the 3rd of September. Okay, so 110 texts sent off. We got 3 leads. 255 texts sent off, 5 leads. 436, 9 leads. 226, 2 leads. She might have been working buyers this day. 315, 6 leads. Yeah, so she was working buyers. 1 buyer, 5 sellers. So 5 leads. 340 text sent, 12 leads. 449 text, 9 sellers. 562 text, 4 seller leads, 4 buyers. 420, 10 sellers. 596, 5 sellers. 419, 10 sellers. 282 leads, 4 sellers. Excuse me, I'm sorry, 2 sellers. 401 text, 401, 4 sellers. 404 text, 8 sellers. 335, 5 sellers. 401 text, 9 sellers. 354 text, 2 sellers. 577 text, 6 sellers. 301 text, 1 seller. 405 text, 3 sellers. 484, 7 sellers. Guys, these are insane numbers. Guys, compare these to compare these to cold calling KPIs. Compare these to cold calling KPIs. All right. I'm just going to go on another, just pulling up a KPI sheet that I have. Let me make sure there's nothing proprietary in here. Okay. Just want to respect the confidentiality of my clients. Okay. So, oops, no, that's not it. And Christine, I'm going to get to your question here in a moment. What list are you texting? I'm going to go over that in one moment. All right. So let's look at these KPIs, guys. So this is for cold calling, guys. My gosh. Okay. So sales made, these are basically just interested. So total calls. And guys, this was when they were using, your software matters. So I was working with this client. They were using, what cold calling tool were they using? I think they were using Mojo or Call Tools. Guys, your tools matter. And guys, I use the same tools year after year after year until the tool just craps out on me, excuse my language, and I have to change. And I really wait until I go, I wait until I have to. Sometimes I have to move, like from Ready to Mode to Zen Call, my hand was forced. But we're looking at, I think this might have been Call Tools, but 2,690 calls with 0 leads. What? 3,000 with 1 lead? Guys, you should be making 700 to maybe 1,200 dials. If your dialer is doing $2,000 to $3,000 and you're not even getting 1 lead, or you're getting 1 lead a day, maybe 2, guys, you need to stop that, because what's happening is that's how you go through data. And then some of you guys are like, well, I'll just pull more data with a cheaper data source. Guys, no. And to be honest, with texting, that's one of the best practices. You do not want to use crappy data, because that's how you get your account. It's not going to get banned, or you're not going to get un-10 DLC'd, but you'll send off text messages and then your account would just get a 24-hour block. So you may tee up 500 and may send off 100, and then your account gets blocked because you had too many flags for the carriers because they were going to invalid headsets. So even now, your data matters even more. So it's not just a matter of increasing your contact rates. It's a matter really with text message marketing, making sure that you're able to send off 400, 500, 600 texts a day. Okay. So with cold calling, guys, this is something that keeps our cost per lead, cost per deal down, right? So if I'm spending, $1,200 a month in data for 10,000 records, and then you're spending, probably like 3,000 for 30,000 records, you may say, well, I'm able to get, 2 or 3 deals out of that. Guys, for me, that just doesn't make sense. Or if you're like, well, I could get 20,000 records for $800. Okay, cool. What's going to happen is I'm going deep here. This is why a lot of your employees quit, because they're dialing lists that suck. Your acquisitions managers don't have any leads to work because your cold callers aren't generating any leads. So they're twiddling their thumbs, and you're telling your acquisitions manager is a cold call, and you don't have them on salary, a base. You just have them on commissions. They don't have any leads, and then you're getting mad at them because they're not locking up any deals. And guess what? You're stuck in the same cycle that you were in your first year. I've replayed that part of my life over and over until I woke up and I was like, whoa, it doesn't supposed to be like this. And then I started to really go deep dive in my system with the help of some people. Shout out to Dan Schwartz from the 80/20 group, right? So, going in that group, going in some other mastermind groups, and also doing my own experiments and really figuring out my own mess, right? It really took some evaluation on my own end to be like, okay, wait, I need to take apart everything to actually figure out the root part problem. And a lot of it was with marketing. I looked at all my tools. I switched from one tool to the next. I switched from one data source to the next. Guys, really from 2018 to probably 2021, it was a huge experimenting phase for me. Probably 18 to 20, I would say 2017 to 2020. I feel like I really started to get a handle on everything in 2020. Okay. All right. Late 2019. So 3,001 lead. Now, this was before I came on board. When I came on board, we switched to we switched to batch dialer. And then you started to see the numbers look a lot better, right? So it was like 1,000 calls, no leads, 1,000. And then, you start to see 1,000 calls with 2 leads. So at least we started to get under control. We started to get under control the actual how many dials we were putting out. This is way too many. This is way too many dials. I can't get over this. So, but when I started in the company, I was like, hey, we're switching from Call Tools or Mojo to batch dialer. Okay. So 1,100 and then 2 connections made. So really with your cold callers, they should look like this, about 1,200 dials to 1,100 dials to about 2 leads a day. And it may not be like that every day, guys. Some days it may be 0, 0, 2, 0, 1. Some days you may hit it big and you may get 5, and that makes up for these days. So I really look at it at a week average. 2, 2, 2, 1, 4, 3, 3, 1, 2, 2, 2, 1, 1, 0, 3. So guys, these are really good for using my data and my list, and then using batch dialer as well. So using my system. So this is about the peak that you can push it. But you compare this, right? And we're looking at an average of, let's see how many leads. Oops. Let me do the average. You're looking at an average of that to that. Okay, this thing always wants to act a fool when I'm doing this stuff live. Give me 1 second, guys. I'm trying to do that. Okay, cool. I don't know why it's doing all that. Oh, maybe because Oh, and you have numbers here. Let me just take this last column here. Okay. I'm just going to do an average of this to this. So, you round up, about 1.7, basically 2 leads per day, okay, with cold calling. All right, you're looking at 2 leads per day. Okay, when we look at texting, oops, let me go back here. When we look at texting, we're probably looking at, now she has some like buyer stuff in here, so I'm gonna put this on another tab. I'm gonna just zoom in here. And so we'll remove the. So this is 5, 9, 8, 10, 5, 2, 5. Let me just make sure this is right. Feel like I'm 3925. 359. Okay. Okay. I had that right. All right, cool. I thought I had that wrong. So I'm going to do average, and then we're going to do boom and boom. Guys, again, 5 leads. Round it up during your 6 leads, guys. And guys, my client right here, shout out to you, Marcus, is in Savannah. This is just one of my markets. I like using this market because it's like not a super like big market. Like it's Savannah, Georgia, guys. And it's more of like a fluent market. Median sale price is around like $350K. We're generating 6 leads a day. Nuts. It's nuts. I love it. So, Christina, great question, my friend. Christina asked, what list are you texting? Great question, my friend. So I don't do like a normal like absentee list or, excuse me, I want to say normal absentee list. Guys, I create my list from scratch. It's like art to me. So I guess the main criteria would be absentee for some of them. I like that one, but I like people that bought their houses for less than 100,000 or whatever the median sale price is in your market, divided by 2. So if your median sale price is 300K, then I might go up to 150K divided by 2. Excuse me, 150,000 as the purchase price. But I like keeping 100,000 as the last purchase price. Okay, so I'll do that. All right, and then I will do so I like that filter, absentee, but I also like owner occupied tax delinquents as well. So that's a list that's performing really well. So owner occupied tax delinquents, 2 years of delinquency. I just closed the deal on Monday and it had that criteria on it. So those 2 lists are performing extremely well for us right now. Okay. But again, I build my list from scratch. That's not like the only criteria I use. If you go back to last week's live, on my YouTube channel, I actually built a list. I went in my list pulling tool from scratch and like built it for you guys. Okay, guys. Let's go back to this, and then I'll probably be on for maybe like 20 or 30 more minutes, and then we'll wrap this thing up. I'm gonna go live more often, so I may not like make these like super long. I'm gonna consider doing a live tomorrow, like a morning like motivation type thing, where I just talk about like business fundamentals, leading your team, sort of like getting your mind right for the business day. So I'm thinking about doing that at 9. I'm going to test around with some different times just to see if that works for you all. Okay, so 2024 lead rates, 1% lead rate, 1,000 texts will generate 10 leads. Okay, boom. All right, last thing I want to talk about are just some best practices for texting. Guys, you got to use good data. Preferably a data source that has 2% wrong number rates and a 90 5% above hit rate. What we use has at least a 99% hit rate. So this is important to make sure your numbers do not go to spam. Excuse me. No, make sure your account, REI Reply account, and really, guys, when it comes down to it, it's your Twilio account does not get a 24-hour ban. What I mean by that, if it gets a 24-hour ban, if you send off 100 messages at 9 a.m. local time and you get blocked, get a 24-hour ban, you can't send any messages until 9 a.m. the following day. Meaning, and what sucks even more, guys, is you can't reply back to sellers that are interested. That's the thing that sucks. That's probably worse than not being able to send off bulk messages. You can't reply back to any sellers that are interested. So you can get messages from sellers, but it's so painful because you can't reply back. And you could call them, but calling them from another number and even if it's local and you were communicating with them over text, guys, that's painful. They may not pick up. So great question, Jermaine. On a tax delinquents list, is a dollar amount you look for or just 2 years delinquent? So for us, it's so it's 2 years delinquent. Sometimes, Jermaine, I may not even put a year on it. I may just want general tax delinquents. Reason why, my guys, because sometimes, if you do more than a year or 2 years delinquent, it may not be registered in the system properly and you may get 0 results, or you may just be in too small of a market. It may take your list from 2,000 records to 100. So even if they're just delinquent 1 year or the current year, I think that's, that triggers some sort of motivation. Now, what I do is I may add on a filter as far as the purchase price. So one filter that I like doing, and maybe I could pull up my my tax delinquent filter here. Let me see here. Okay, cool. Okay, so yeah. All right, guys, I want to give you guys the good there. So let me show you guys something without giving away my data source. All right, cool. So may do something like this, right? Okay, so property type, single family residential. So basically I'm doing single family residences, dupes, tris, and quads. Lot size less than 2,178 square foot. So basically, guys, a half an acre or less. Owner occupied, no. Owner corporate owned, no. Years greater or equal to 10. Tax delinquent, yes. So you see, Jermaine, I just did yes. I didn't do a year. 100,000 for a purchase price or less. 100, guys, this is getting me excited even saying this. 100,000 with a mortgage amount or less. And then not listed, guys, man. Yeah. Guys, again, this is about as niche as you can get without going to the courthouse and getting 5 probate records. See, that's the thing, guys. A lot of you guys want to get all this niche data from the tax delinquent office, from the code violations. It's not scrubbed at all, and you can't even specify whether or not you're getting these types of homes. You may get 20,000 records, but maybe a whole bunch of junk. It may be mobile homes, it may be rural properties, it may be stuff in the middle of nowhere, it may be corporate owned. You just get what you can get. I prefer using these list pulling tools and then just creating my own niche list because I can control the volume. Guys, I know regardless of how targeted the list is, with texting and with cold calling, I'm going to need a certain amount of records to be able to convert one into a deal. And even if I have a very niche list and I get 500 really motivated homeowners, I can only target that thing probably for a week. That's a day of texting. If I mainly cold call, maybe a week. Guys, that doesn't do it for me. Why? We need unique volume. So what I do is I may take this criteria and do zip code by zip code. This I think I did in like 10 zips in one market, and it got me maybe like 5,000 records. Okay. And then I do this in 20 more zips and I get another 5,000 records. Okay. So once I finish that, then I'll do owner occupied. Yes. And so I may get another 5,000 records. Pull that, get a deal. 2 weeks later, pull the other zips, 10 other zips, get a deal. The third week, pull, use the same criteria in separate zips and get a deal. That way I'm targeting unique data. So guys, it's just not about targeting. Guys, it's just not about targeting data that's like niche. You have to think, and I think strategically, okay, well, what am I going to do month 3? What am I going to do month 4? Okay, what, am I going to text the same list? Guys, that's why I stopped text message marketing, because I had to pull so much data back in 2021, 2022, and 2023, and I couldn't recycle the data. So I started cold calling because I was like, well, 20,000 records would get me, I could get 4 cold callers on it. I could get 2, 4, 6, 8, about 4 to 8 leads a day with that, and I can recycle the list over and over again, right, in the month. Okay, with texting, it's a one and done. You shoot the messages off, it's done. Okay, and you can, it really doesn't make, you really can't send text messages off again like that the next month. Or let's just say you have a 5,000 record list, you go through that in 2 weeks. It doesn't make sense to go through that again. Okay, like you can't message it again. Sometimes you could just delete it out of your system, but you're not going to get the same response rates. With cold calling, I can recycle lists 2-3 times in a month, and I can still get 1-2 leads a day as long as I have my cold caller sitting in that pocket for 8 hours. Okay, it's just important things to consider. Okay. So my guy Brandon said, "What up, bro?" Shout out to you, my guy. What's up, Brandon? I've seen you here multiple times, man. Thanks for joining live. And guys, really thank you for anybody who's joining live. I know you guys are doing, taking time out of your evening. I really appreciate it. So I hope, it's worth your time. I just don't want to get here and just talk about nothing. Like that's not my thing. I wouldn't want that. And, I try to just treat you guys the same way that I would want. And whenever I was first starting, or even when I needed some motivation, I would go jump on certain lives, ask questions and webinars or whatever. And I would get really good information, but only for people that were giving value, and they weren't just posting content just to create content. Like that's not my thing. So got to drop the gems. I got to drop the gems. So guys, we have to use good data. Okay. So anything that has a 2% wrong number rate or lower, 95% hit rate or higher. I'm having a 99% hit rate with my data. It's important to make sure your REI reply account / Twilio account does not get a 24-hour ban, because guys, the carriers will ban you. Ban you if you have too many incorrect or invalid phone numbers going out from one DID. And this is your outbound number. So this leads me to a second point. Guys, you want to purchase 10 DIDs and one second. You want to purchase 10 DIDs and rotate these every hour. Okay. And so this goes along with this third point I'm going to make is drip 1 text per minute. And I'll get to that in a second. But with this, we're only sending 60 messages from 1 DID per every 24 hours, preferably 48. So let me give you guys an example, i.e., or EG rather. e.g., excuse me. For example, we're using, let's just say we're using 704. I'm in Charlotte. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 at 9 a.m. Eastern time to send off. Okay, let me do the date. On 2 October 2024 to send off 60 messages. Okay, so what's that, Wednesday? Okay, so on Thursday, we will not send any messages from 704, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. On Friday, we'll send off 60 messages from 704, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Guys, so now we have to do this because, again, let's think about this as if we are the people that invented 10DLC. So our whole goal was to eliminate spam texting. So if somebody's sending off 100 messages from one phone number in a minute, is that going to look more suspicious than somebody sending off 60 messages from one phone number over an hour? That's basically like me texting. That's a teenage girl texting her girlfriends. They probably could do more than that. If you guys have teenage girls, probably know. But texting her girlfriends back and forth, that's reasonable. But can that same teenage girl text 100 people in a minute? No. So to the phone carriers, it's going to look normal if you're dripping one message per minute. Now, I have some hacks here that I don't share online. These are just for my clients. So if you come work with me, I'll share with you guys this. We found a way through REI Reply to send off basically, if you want to drop 5,000 texts in a minute, you can from one number, and you don't have to purchase 10 numbers, and you don't have to worry about your number getting spam. This is a new development that my team developed. So, we're doing that now. But, for most of you guys, you could do this and you could get by, right? And you want to set up a campaign in your texting account, in your REI Reply account, or whatever account you're using. Most of you guys are using Go High Level. Go High Level, not knockoffs, white labels. So REI Reply is built on Go High Level. So there should be a campaign area where you set this up at. Okay. You want to check your phone numbers through a free source called NomoRobo. Okay. So the URL is going to be NomoRobo/lookup. And then / your phone number. So replace your DID. With the 704 number. Replace the 704 number DID with your number. Okay. So how often should you check these numbers, guys? I would check them like once a week. I would say this, like, if you're following these best practices, these numbers will rarely go bad. You'll know before you check it when it goes bad, because you're going to keep on getting like a 24-hour ban. And then you're going to know your number goes bad. But if you're sending 24 messages from, let's just say, the 704 number at 9 a.m. on Wednesday, and then you take a break on Thursday, you're only sending 60 messages, one message off a minute, and then you're doing the same thing on Friday. Okay, cool. So just doing this, guys, if we're starting at 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we're stopping at 5, 8 hours. We're doing 60 messages times 8 hours. That's 480. And you guys saw the KPIs for I showed you guys the KPIs for doing about 480, 500 messages a day. We were getting well above 5 messages a day. When we first got started, we were trickling a little bit, but I mean, since we've gotten rolling, guys, we've had maybe 1 or 2 days below 5 messages. Okay. My guy, Elvin, I haven't seen you before, man. So, hey, great finding you here, my friend. You're the lone Facebook viewer. All right, glad you joined, man. So, guys, this is this is some advanced stuff right here. I do this every day, and I'm an analyst, guys. I love this stuff. I love a challenge. So, last thing here, guys, is I'm going to say you want to drip 1 text per minute. So, again, this is in the campaigns area in your REI reply account. Okay, so in the campaigns area, you want to set this up where it jerks 1 a minute. Okay, if you do more than 1 per minute, and we tested it, guys, in your workflows area, you can drip more than 1, but guys, I don't know. This will probably cause your account to get a 24-hour suspension. Okay. So, guys, there's one more best practice here that I wanted to share with you guys. Jermaine had a question here. Didn't REI reply switch companies? I think they go away from Twilio. Did they? I'm not sure of that. Hey, when was that? Let me know, because I have seen a change. It was really frustrating around spring of this year. REI reply was being very difficult, but I did see a change like around spring, summerish. I thought they just figured out the issue, because we were basically getting, after we had everything set up, we were using the best practices. We were getting like blocked like every day, it seemed like, for probably 3 weeks straight. And then just like that, things changed. So let me know when they did the switch. I wasn't aware of that, but that's really cool if they did. Guys, there's another best practice here that I need to discuss with you guys. Let me reread this. So drip 1 text per minute. This is in the campaigns area in your REI reply account, okay? If you do more than 1 per minute, this will probably cause your account to get a 24-hour ban. Guys, I cannot remember the last one here. There was one more. We drip 1 text per minute. This is in the campaigns area, REI reply account. Do this one more. Guys, I can't remember. If I remember it, I'll comment on and pin it in YouTube, okay? So forgive me. Guys, I think that's it right there. So I don't want to make this stream too long. I know I wanted to go over some other things here. We're at 1 hour and 19 minutes. I did want to go over just like hiring and all that stuff, but we could cover that maybe like tomorrow morning. Maybe I'll do that tomorrow morning if you guys want, where because honestly, I'm going to jump right into an interview at 10 a.m. So I might go over sourcing, hiring. Actually, I will. I will go over sourcing, hiring, and managing your text message managers tomorrow morning. So I'm going to go live at 9 a.m. So if you guys want to join that, I'll go ahead and set that up, and you guys can go ahead and put that on your calendars. Okay. But I'll let Jermaine chime in here. If you guys have any other questions, drop them. I'm still trying to remember this last best practice here. Because, oh my gosh. Because when we do the campaign, I know we check them with NomoRobo. Cool. I told you guys that. When we do the campaigns, you only want to send off 1 a minute. If you do more than 2, your account might get flagged. I told you guys. Oh, this is the last thing. Okay. Rotate your DIDs. This actually goes underneath this one. So you want to rotate your DIDs every time you send off 100 messages. So in REI reply, you need to go to your My Staff section and change your default number. Okay. Before you send off your next 100 messages. And again, guys, I'm telling you all this. All these best practices were self-taught. Okay. And learn the hard way. Earlier this year, we were frustrated, guys, trying to figure this stuff out. But we didn't give up. I refused to give up. Why? Because I knew I had a competitive advantage. Guys, for me personally, there's a reason why I don't like doing PPC, pay per lead stuff, Facebook ads. I don't like doing that because I can't control my list. I don't like junk. I don't like getting junk. I don't like making a deal happen out of a motivated seller that's in the middle of freaking nowhere. That's not just going to work for me. I like pulling my list and having specific parameters on my list and know when that lead comes in, if that's the person's motivated, it's going to be a qualified lead. Anything else is just not a waste of time. It's just like, it is a waste of time. I would say anything else is just saying, oh, well, we had a motivated lead come in. Well, where is it? It's in the middle of bum freak nowhere. Well, at least it's motivated. And you're going to waste your time chasing this lead down, and it may be a $5,000 assignment. Guys, absolutely no. That's a no-go for me. Okay? That's an absolute no-go. And so, sometimes when you do this PPC stuff, you have to go nationwide. Pay per lead, other people are getting these leads. I like having an exclusive list for myself. It makes me feel like I actually I have some sort of competitive advantage over my competitors. It makes me feel like I actually have a custom curated list, which I do, because I know when I pull 10,000 records, there's going to be nobody that has that same list that they're targeting. Yes, some of these homeowners may be on other lists, but they're not going to have this exact combination of homeowners I'm targeting. And some of them may be targeted, but may not even be targeted with text messaging. And guys, so one thing to remember as well, another thing to remember, just to make this worth it, is that the people that respond back to a text are completely different than the ones, the same list that you'll cold call. Okay, completely different than the sellers on the same list that you'll cold call. So I've done it. We rarely, actually, we never, I'm going to say we never have duplicate homeowners. So meaning that I would say duplicate leads that we generate from cold calling and texting. So, and we market to these lists at the same time. Okay. We market to both of the lists at the same time. So we don't ever generate duplicate like leads. The people that respond back to texting are completely different from the ones that will respond back to cold calling. Even though, guys, the list, it's the same list with the same phone numbers. It's so interesting. All right, Jermaine said, yes, it's REI Reply 2.0, no A2P, and you can use the spam words. It's a different provider. So, hey, what's that site? Is that REI Reply, like actual REI Reply? Because, dude, somebody told me about that today. They told me about something, and you can buy a SIM card or they'll send you a phone. And guys, I don't know. My thing is, I feel like that's going to come to an end. I feel like that's Facebook ads in 2018 or 19. where the good times will roll for a little bit, but can I build a system around it? I guess where I'm at with it right now, I know, I like that, but I know that the reason why they put these rules in place was so you can't use these spam words. So I know if Indians, guys, here's the thing. Foreign individuals, people that you guys were using on Fiverr, these people that were these skip tracers that were hitting you guys up, where'd they go? They're not hitting me up at all on Messenger because they don't have access to an American LLC. So yes, they found a workaround, but you better believe once they start doing this again and it becomes ubiquitous, which it is, and it becomes saturated, they're going to clamp down on that. And I just don't feel like I want to rock the boat. I want to listen, I make my money in the gray area, and I just don't want to sacrifice what I have going on to do that, man. And potentially they can shut it down, because the whole reason why they did this was so you can't use the spam words. So I'll play the game and lay underneath the radar if that means that I can have longevity in my account. Because you better believe, guys, once these foreigners get a lot of these foreigners start getting a hold of this stuff and start marketing, it's going to saturate the market again. And that, I don't like that, guys. This is my competitive advantage. What's the difference between me, a veteran who's been real estate wholesale and investing for 9 years? What's the difference between me and a newbie investor if we all have the same tools? The playing field's level. Now the playing field's not level. We're in a blue ocean, and it's harder to make this stuff work. Now I respect that, and I might actually look into that REI Reply 2.0. So, I respect that, and I'm not getting down on it. I'm just a skeptic, man. I'm just like, when is the bottom going to fall out, right? When is this going to turn to, when are they going to require people to have A2P registration for that? Like, I'm pretty sure they're using that. I'm pretty sure they're using these handsets where you have to get a cell phone and you use the cell phone, like physical cell phone, as like the SIM card. I think that might be it. Let me know if I'm wrong, but I think that's pretty ingenious. All right, guys, to go back here. So guys, these are the best practices that work for us. And we're getting these, we're getting this. Again, this may seem like a lot of work, but to get these types of response rates and to generate and have a competitive advantage over your competitors, to be redundant, but also, guys, to generate 5 leads a day, it's amazing, okay? But we also automate it too, guys. So we have VAs that do this for us as well, because it does take a lot of work to upload the messages every hour, rotate the phone numbers, respond back to the homeowners, even pick up the phone whenever certain people call, okay? You guys have any more questions? Stay on for a little bit longer. Guys, I appreciate all the feedback, especially user, man. I might have to hit you up, man, and just give you a free consultation session for your feedback, man, and really for dropping these gems too, bro. So it's a collaboration, guys. Guys, if you need help with any of your marketing, whether it comes to building your business, right? We help a lot of investors, guys, with building their businesses. We also help them out with just general consultation, guys. It's not just the REI Reply stuff. It's list pulling, skip tracing, lead generation, REI Reply setup, hiring virtual assistants, hiring your administrative assistants. Like, let's just say you need an operations manager. Guys, we're your guys. So my company used to be CC Garland Marketing. You guys know me for marketing, but really recently, in the last year or so, guys, I focused on business consultation, right, for real estate investors. I think there's a lot of coaches out here, but I don't think there's any like consultants. So what we do, guys, is we help you basically scale your company where you're at to the next level. So here, if you start at list pulling, that's where a lot of people start. And then 3 years from now, guys, we're helping them build out their whole company, one-on-one consultation, hiring their acquisitions managers, hiring their operations manager, working with them for 4 months, getting their deals, helping them get their deals to close, and also helping the team work together. And guys, sometimes it's messy. Sometimes it's a struggle. Sometimes the project gets delayed, but we're with our clients, up until we get this proverbial plane off the ground. So a lot of you guys are like the Wright brothers, where the plane's going up and then it's going down. It's going up, it's going down. Well, we're here to help you build that plane and then keep that thing afloat. Okay, guys? So we're not here to take you from 10 to 20 deals a month, but most of you guys, anybody who's been doing wholesale for more than years, like stuck at 1 to 2 deals a quarter. And we're here to help you get 2 to 3 deals, potentially 5 deals by the time we finish working with you a month. Okay. But you need a team. So you need an operations manager to oversee it all. You need a text messaging manager for lead gen, cold caller for lead gen, probably 2 of those. You need a acquisitions manager or a dispo manager. A lot of our clients have a junior dispositions manager. So basically that person is just qualifying buyers and also finding realtors to put properties on MLS on. We teach you guys fun things like how to get a property under contract using power of attorney. So I actually have some notes here from a client that we were working with. Where is that? Daily task, POA steps. So I did like a 2-hour training with one of my people a few days ago. And literally, guys, this was like such a crazy training where we basically went through the steps with we actually had a deal and we were like, hey, if we want to get a power of attorney, like what were the steps? And so we went through like how you'll convince the seller to get a POA, because sometimes it's not just about them being sick, right? Or being out of state. Sometimes you just have to tell them, hey, this is going to be more convenient for you. And it's true, guys. This allows us to close the deal a lot quicker because we're able to call the county if there's back taxes or if there's a payoff for water and sewer. We're basically able to call on the seller's behalf and get this thing and expedite the closing for them, or do some of that title work before it gets to title, right? Or before it gets to that stage in title. So, these are things that I just tell my people, just ahead of time. Just tell my people just to get deals done virtually. So they bring in their knowledge, but to be honest, guys, like I take all my people virtual. So this client we started him in Indianapolis. He was actually in Savannah. So that's Marcus. So he got a deal in Indianapolis, and I was just telling him how to basically secure that deal to make sure it didn't fall through. Because guys, a lot of sellers have been being funny. They're backing out on these deals, guys, and it just isn't good. So you got to be able to protect yourselves in other ways. And this is how we're getting our deals done and listing them on an MLS. So the bigger thing is to get this thing listed on the MLS. So we went through step by step. Shayna was our dispo manager. So she trained underneath me for about a month. That's what I do. I train the ops managers underneath me, train them on the job, and then I push them to one of my clients. So she's his ops / dispo manager. So Shayna's awesome. And so her job was to find a mobile notary. And then my guy Marcus gets a POA signed and notarized, get the phone number, get on the phone with the mobile notary. The acquisitions person actually explains this to them. But yeah, guys, and then we get it listed. And so, yeah, this was a 2-hour training. So stuff like that, guys, I love doing. I love just training, guys. I love this stuff. Let me stop sharing here. And but yeah, guys, so if you need any help with just setting up your company, let me know. Any budget you have will work, right? So I would say our least expensive product is probably like list pulling. So maybe like a 5,000 record list. But we also could bundle this together. Really, if you need a list, skip tracing, and you need help with the 10 DLC setup, and we do like a one-on-one call for it with you, that is a package most people are getting and they're having success with. And we'll give you like 30-day support as well. So if all this stuff seems super complicated, like just hit us up, guys, and we'll set all this up for you. Okay. And I call you guys personally. So I'm going to, at the end of this year, probably going to next year, I'm going to start handing this off to my new ops manager to do strategy sessions. But if you guys want to talk to me personally, fill out this form and I'll get in touch with you. All right, guys, I will talk to you later. Again, hit that link in the top left. I'll actually give you guys the form here. I'll drop it here in the comments. Hopefully this will show up on YouTube. Let me see here. Yeah, it'll show up on YouTube. I'll put it on Facebook too. But yeah, guys, go ahead and hit us up, and I will see you guys later. I might go live tomorrow, so just be on the lookout for that. Peace.